Hello there. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the British police just turned away vans showing images of children kidnapped by Hamas because it might offend the Palestinian and Hamas protesters in London and cause a problem. The police have taken a side, and it's not your side. You only have to step back and see who the police pander to and who they shut down to realise that any concept of universal human rights in the UK is a total and utter myth. Last night is a salutary lesson in the lack of human rights that UK citizens actually have. Politicians will gush about how important human rights are and that the UK is a beacon of human rights to the world. And we must stay a part of these international treaties like the ECHR they bleat, or we'll lose our human rights, completely missing the point that the majority of people in the UK have their human rights trampled on every day for the benefit of activist minorities. And the one human right these politicians put at or near the top of the tree is the freedom of expression. We are free to speak our minds and put forth our opinions, we are told. Total guff. They lie to you. As you'll see, we live in a country of controlled speech. Now, for the avoidance of doubt, I will tell you which human rights you actually have. Only those rights that you, as a sovereign individual, can exercise and 100% protect for 100% of the time. If you cannot do that, you do not have that right. All you have is a vague promise from the state that they will do it for you. It's that stark. And governments only ever do things that are in their interests first, then for their core voters, then, if there are no cost implications, they might look after you. And by cost implications, I mean cost as in the cost to health and wealth due to civil unrest or money spent on police and court overtime. You get the idea. And last night we saw a group of Jewish activists using lit billboard vans to highlight the plight of Israeli children taken hostage by Hamas over that terrible weekend. But it's reported that the police told them to turn the lights off and go home. The reason? Because there was a Palestine-backing vigil about to end, and the police did not want a clash between the two. The Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, the CAA, had already said that anti-Israeli protesters had blocked their vehicles and chanted at them, and went on to claim that police officers had ordered them to turn off the billboards and clear out of central London. One of the CAA campaigners tweeted out this video.
I've just had one of the most disturbing experiences in 9 years at Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. We've got billboard vans which have been driving around London showing the faces of the children kidnapped by Hamas with the call to bring them home. That's all that's on the billboard vans. They were out this evening shooting video of the vans passing various landmarks, and right in front of Big Ben, I got a call from the volunteers who were shooting the pictures, really shaken up. They'd been stopped by protesters. And then police had turned up and told them to turn off the billboards and clear out of central London, otherwise there would be, quote, a breach of the peace. And I was just astonished by this. How on earth could the police stop people in central London, in our capital, from showing the pictures of children kidnapped by a terrorist organisation banned by our government? How could they possibly do that? How could they turn on the victims of terror? And so I went down to have a look and try the route again. And sure enough, the police turned up and told us for our own safety that we couldn't show the billboards. Not only that, what they did is they asked me to step across the road with them for my own safety, supposedly, so that I didn't get hit by a cyclist. They then instructed the drivers to turn off the billboards and to clear the area. And they wouldn't let me cross back over to listen to the conversation or talk to our own drivers. They actually physically restrained me from trying to speak to the drivers or hear the conversation because they said they were worried about me crossing the road. That's what it's come down to in central London. The question I ask you when you watch this footage is, who are the police protecting? The victims of terrorism? The Jewish community? Or is it the sensibilities of people who sympathise with terrorists who are banned by our country?
Sorry. What's the problem?
Is it okay to talk to you on this side of the road?
Yeah, it's out of the way of the traffic.
We talk on the paper. Was it yourself who's funded this?
Yeah, we're the charity, yeah.
We're
the charity that's organised it, yeah.
That's funded these. Okay.
What's the problem with it?
So,
Yeah.
this is the gentleman who's part of the charity that's funded
Hi.
this.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know that there's a vigil going on down the other end.
We're just driving around, we've been doing it this week and we're driving around London. These are also kids who've been kidnapped by Hamas. We're entitled to do it.
Well, where's your next direction? Where are you heading?
We're going to be going down Downing Street, then Trafalgar Square and then onwards.
Okay, and what time are you planning on at Broad?
Why have you told him to turn it off? Excuse me, why has the guy been told to turn off why has he been told to turn it off? On what legal basis has he been asked to do that?
Word with him.
Yeah.
Sir,
Okay.
I don't want you to get run over by a car.
Okay, you're holding me
Obviously,
back and
no,
you're
I'm stopping
telling
you from walking
you've
in.
just told
Sir,
him to turn that off.
I'm stopping
You've
you
just
from
told him
going
to
the
turn
road.
that off.
Obviously, we're on high vis.
Why are the police holding me back and telling them to turn the vans off? Why are they doing that?
We can talk to them in a second.
Okay, why have they just been... I'd like to speak to the person who's giving instructions. No, excuse me. Why are you holding... Okay, someone is giving instructions to turn off our vans. They're private property. They are entitled to do what they are doing.
Yeah.
Why are they being told to do that?
They are entitled to, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we want to make sure that they're safe, their property is safe, and what we don't want to do is have people coming this way and doing any damage to their vans.
Right, so if they're happy to drive around London, which they were until you pulled them over and stopped them...
We haven't
and
pulled them over.
You told them to stop. Look, there's police officer there who's told
We've
them
asked
to
them
stop.
to move into a different place.
That's according to Gideon. Freedom of expression, anyone? The Met Police tweeted out a response saying, "We have watched the video and we understand why this has caused concern. The officers were in the area because of a vigil that was happening nearby, organised by the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. We have reviewed the body-worn video of the officers involved to establish the full sequence of events. This exchange happened at around the same time as the vigil came to an end, and the priority of officers was the safety of everyone involved and those nearby. We will be making contact with the campaign against anti-Semitism on the work taking place across the Met to tackle hate crime." So the pro-Palestine vigil was able to form, go ahead without hindrance, and then disperse at its own speed, while the campaign against anti-Semitism was shut down. I ask again, freedom of expression, anyone? And the reason for this Met decision, sadly, appears to be as follows. The Met must prevent a breach of the peace. When two groups with opposing views meet, there is the potential for a clash that could cause physical harm to people and property. The police must prevent that. So a choice is made about which group to be targeted for police cancellation. Now here's the crux of the matter. Do they choose the ones they think are more likely to quietly obey their instruction to disperse? Or try to quell a group that they think and assume could turn violent? And judging by the words of the officers here about protecting those CAA campaigners in the vans, you can see which of the groups is which on the Met Police scale, can't you? The CAA people were not treated as potentially criminal protesters. They were dispersed for their own safety. So the message is, if you want to protest and make sure the police keep out of your way and shut your opposition down, that is not a good message to project. But that message is being projected nonetheless. And that message leads to the like of the Batley teacher. Remember him? Being forced into exile in his own country, fearing for his very life and that of his family. Where is the Batley teacher's right to freedom of expression and the right to a family life? Neither exists for him nor his family. Now, I'm not putting this episode down to police anti-Semitism. What I'm saying is that the police under the rules follow the most expedient path, the route of least resistance. The major flaw there is that those who wish us harm are watching very carefully and form their strategies and tactics accordingly. This episode also shows how low down the legal scale freedom of expression really is. And it shows why it should be much, much higher up that enforcement ladder than it currently is. As I said, we live in a country of controlled speech, where the woke want that to grow increasingly more closed down. Freedom of expression is vital to democracy. That's why those that wish to destroy us and our way of life want it shut down, ably assisted by their useful idiots on the woke left.